Hello and welcome to Nigeria Now on Equa Television International, where we discuss politics, policies, education, security, crime, and also governance. And as usual, I will be doing this program together with Rachel Tansey. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, Sally.
All right, and I am Stella Elisha Dasham. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. You can do all to follow us live there and also drop your comment or your contribution or stories that we will be looking at together with Rachel this afternoon. And yesterday happens to be the World Teachers Day, so I think it will not be out of place if we actually start on that note, Rachel. Yesterday we looked at the fact that yesterday was World Teachers Day, and a lot of teachers, there was a march past to actually, show that or to actually recognize that day because it's very important to teachers. And we also looked at the fact that there was a theme for that for the day, which was the teachers we need for the education we want. And the fact that this came up because of the shortage of teachers we have, and there were a number of criteria that teachers in Nigeria, especially, actually were able to outline to the president, because we will remember that in 2020 there was a promise that was made to the teachers, the fact that they were going to review their salaries and also talking about extending their retirement age to about 65. But as of this moment, Rachel, the only thing that has been affected, and that happened in few states and also in the FCT, is the extent of date or talking about age where they will retire. But every other thing has not been, taken into cognizance. Talking about the reforms, talking about them getting internship, talking about even the environment where they teach, checking the curriculum of the schools, and quite a number of things have actually not been checked into. And the president promised that under his own watch, under his administration, will make sure that everything that the teachers need is actually given to them. But I think it's imperative that we actually look at a way that we can recognize these people, because not only are teachers the lamb holders for students, but also they play a very, very important role. I mean, when we're all growing up all till day, we have always been told the fact that teaching is a noble job. But over the year, we've seen that it has been made unattractive. We've seen that they are welfare, they are not well taken care of. No wonder sometimes you see a teacher looking very malnourished, lean, and you wonder what really is wrong. But to tell you that it's not easy for you to stand for an hour or plus to actually teach people, and then knowing the fact that some of the students in the class, not every of the same grade level, or nobody, they are not all of the same learning capacity. Some are fast learners, others are slow learners. So eventually, as a teacher, you have to be patient and all of that. But then I think it is important that the government really look into the fact that they need to do something, check the welfare of these teachers, and also look into what they can do to make sure that that job, teaching job, is actually recruitive as it looks, so that students will know that truly this is a noble job, and then it's not out of place for you to say, I want to be a teacher when I grow up.
Stella, when it comes to reforms, and I'm happy that the president keeps making promises, and what that means is that we have what to hold him accountable to. And then the thing about reforms are not packages, Stella. And when you say you're going to reform, or when we are requesting for a reform, we are looking at you sending certain policies, bringing out new templates, structure, a system, and a blueprint, that there would be a complete turnover, that it wouldn't only be people in the government sector that get to benefit from it, but teachers completely. And that is why we have NUT, exactly, Nigerian Union of Teachers. Like, if you finished as a teacher in Nigeria, you read education in the tertiary university, it's expected of you to register as a teacher. You write an exam, you register as a teacher, and then you become professionally a teacher, just like how we will have for lawyers, we have that for the medical association, we have that for every other professional body. There is also for teaching. And then what that means is that you are in a professional system and a professional body. Therefore, the government have no other reason but to treat you as professionals. but said teachers are not being treated like professionals in Nigeria, and that is where the problem comes. It looks as if it's just the job that people go to when they have searched everywhere for a better job. It's like a last resort, and then it's not supposed to be like that. And secondly, when we're looking at a reform that you will do good for Nigerian teachers, then you need to get it where the past previous government didn't get it. When you want a sector to grow, you put things in place for it that will automatically grow. For example, when it comes to education, if you have the welfare of teachers in mind, which should be for every other sector, but then let's just narrow it down to education, because this is where we are focused on at the moment. You put in a system that says, you know what, this is the minimum as a professional body for teachers that they get paid. Now, automatically, it means even if it's a private school that is going to be established, there is law that they are to follow. True. That this is the minimum wage that you are supposed to pay a professional teacher. For example, now it means that before a school is established, be it private, they would have to say, we must meet this standard of being able to pay teachers this certain amount, because it is not going to be accepted. Now, it means every other teacher will not just finish NCA and just sit about it. They will also clamor to go and get their professional certificate, so that when you are going to a school, you go as a professional, and then you know that this is the grade level I'm going to start with at this period, regardless of whether I am working in a private school or a private school. And in that doing, and then this is what is going to mean that we are going to see less private school, because a lot of people know that they cannot meet up to that standard. Now, it leaves the government with the responsibility of building more schools to be able to cater for the need of education in the school. But because we do not have this kind of things in place, we have private schools springing up. You will see the kind of caricature of private schools we have. We saw cases where some of these schools are becoming like place for filthy things to happen because they are not set properly, and you'll be surprised how much teachers are being paid, because the government has failed to set up a structure that on its own will put education to have good quality, will put teachers at a position where they don't even have to complain about their salaries, they don't have to complain about things like that. Then it means now the government will have to be the ones with the responsibilities to keep building school, because they are the ones that will be able to meet up with this standard. We will be in a system of in Nigeria where we have less private schools, more government schools. So therefore, I will not worry about becoming a professional teacher, because I know regardless of being employed under the government or a private school, I will have my pay according to my grade, because this thing is not just there for whatever school to go by it, but it has been put as a law when it comes to the minimum wage for professional teachers and so on and so forth. So I'm just looking forward to when we want to do a reform. It is a lot of work, but then I just hope that we are really, really ready to do the work, not just pack it, not a 10,000 naira 6 months with 25,000. No, reform should be what it is, a reform, something that in the nearest future we will see a complete turnaround in education.
And you know, Rachel, it will surprise you to know that this is the only course you read in the university, and it has a double honor.
Yes.
Education.
True.
Every other course has a single
Just
honor,
single,
but education has
is
a double honor.
Yes,
so you begin to wonder if this is how important and paramount that is. So why are we not giving it the attention that is needed? Why are we teaching treating our teachers as if they are beggars? I remember during the ASU strike, this was what they said, that they are being treated like beggars. Yes. No wonder we see most of them wanting to leave the country and go somewhere else that their occupation is being respected. So we look forward to a time where all that the president have said, all of these reforms will actually be effective, because just like I always say, it's one thing for us to have all of these things on paper, but it's another thing for us to see the government walking the talk eventually, and not just stopping at saying the fact that we will take care of our teachers. But we hope to see our teachers really do being taken care of, so that we don't keep seeing things that are not supposed to be happening in the university. Now, still talking about taking up of responsibility, doing what is supposed to be done, we are having Efe Babalola complaining to the president the fact that most governors are hijacking the local government allocation, and he was pushing for a reform also, I would say, where we'll have that whatever allocation is being given will go straight to the local government, and will not have either the governors or the state government actually, hijacking all of these things. And we know that if we are saying we have three tiers of government, which is the federal government, the state government, the local government. So sometimes you begin to wonder and ask yourself this question: why do we treat the local government more like they are not a tier of government on their own? Why do we see the House of Assembly, giving a little token to this local government, as if telling them whatever we give you, you have to manage? We know how many administration came in and went out, starting from the 8th Assembly, the 9th Assembly, and finally the 9th Assembly were able to push forward for the fact that let the local government stand on their own, talking about the local government autonomy. And each time we talk about that, people begin to wonder, what do we mean? It's all about saying that the fact that the local government can operate on their own without necessarily going through the state government for certain things. And there was a provision that was given, part of the so many amendment that was being made during that. I think it's over a year now, because that was about 22nd of March last year, and we're talking about almost ending, getting to the second year by barely how many months we get to March 2024. Now I begin to ask the question: why do we have governors treating them that way? Why do we have the State House of Assembly treating them that way? What can be done to make sure that we rectify this issue? Because Efe Babalola made this comment because of the fact that when you go to the local government areas, Rachel, you see a lot of hectares of land lying bare, nothing is being done. And then these are things that, if we are talking about boosting the GDP of the country, we start from the grassroots. A lot of the people over there do not have a job, and then the government can actually utilize some of these lands that are lying there without anything, get farmers to work there, provide them with all the machines they need. Because when we talk about farming, we're not talking about going back to using the hoe and cutlass. We're talking about mechanized farming. So when we don't see all of these things being done, we begin to ask questions. Now, what can we do? How can we get it right? Because it seems as if we're sounding like a broken record over and over whenever we talk about the fact that the local government need to stand on their own. A lot of infrastructures need to be taken care of. Just yesterday, we saw where over 300 clinics or so are collapsing, talking about primary health care. And most of this primary health care are in the local government areas. So what really is the problem, and what can be done to rectify all of these issues?
Stella, the problem is that when we refuse to practice things the way they are, then we see these problems. You keep saying, why does it look like our democracy is different? When it comes to politics, we have democracy. When it comes to our economy, we have a mixed economy. And then when it comes to system of governance, we have decentralization, meaning the federal government at its level can function and carry out responsibility. The state at its own level will carry out its responsibilities, and then the local government councils will carry out their own responsibility. Decentralization is all about having core responsibilities at every level. And just as you said, Sele, this is how it's supposed to function, but we refuse to function. The way we are seeing allocations coming down from the federal government going directly to the state government is not supposed to go through the state government, but be able to go directly to the local government level. Meaning by the time we are having just University Teaching Hospital as a federal government level, we're able to see Plateau Hospital as a state level, then we are supposed to be able to go to every local government and see that Mangu have a standard hospital. We're able to go to Basa and say that Basa have a standard hospital. We're able to go to every local government and see that they are able to have standard hospitals. Why? Because they have funding coming directly to their pocket. We're able, we see federal roads, we see state roads, and then we should be able to go to local government and see a good town planning. We should be able to see local government roads being channeled properly within, like when you see a town planning in every local government. The same thing for schools. We have federal government schools, we have state government schools. The same way we are supposed to go down to the local government and see a good amount of schools, good numbers of schools in this local government. This is what it means if we're to allow decentralization to function properly in Nigeria. But for some reason, we have leaders that will not admit to being corrupt. But if you're not allowing a system of governance to run, the way it has been designed and is supposed to run, then that is corruption. And whether you like it or not, that is not good governance, because you are standing in a way for certain things to thrive the way it should thrive, because it's now left for the state government, even the federal government, to put eyes down to the local government. You've had your allocation directly to your pocket. We should be able to see some amount of employment, significant amount of employment going on at the local government areas. We should be able to see that primary health care centers are not dying because there is money going directly to the local government, and we should be able to see standard buildings even at local government levels. That is what it entails if we're to allow a system of governance to run the way. And if we've chosen decentralization, then we should go with it. And this is where we need to wake up and tell ourselves we should do things right. If not, we will not see the output of it, because obviously we are not letting the system of governance to run as it is. And that is the only solution, is that we should make it so is not optional. It's not an optional thing to say whether it goes through the government. It's not supposed to. Don't adopt the system you're not willing to practice it the way it's supposed to. It just shows corruptness. It shows selfishness, because you know what you're gaining from that money, that you don't want it to go to the right channel or to the right people that are supposed to handle it and manage it. Then if it's not going to go directly, then perhaps there's no need to have a chairman, because there's no need for a head. If you still have to, then we just probably have the governors taking
mentioning the fact of chairman. Sorry to cut you short. How many states so far have actually conducted elections in the local government areas?
We are yet to see that.
So
also
quite a number of governors are just running based on caretakers committee. And we don't even have chairmen that are actually in those local government areas. So now who then tends to fight for the local government? Who will now talk about the people in the grassroots level? So this is another question entirely, a $1 million question that we need answers to. So just like you rightly say, we just hope that the government will be able to, you know, set a standard. Let us not have something that is optional, whether you feel like doing it or not. So we're looking forward to seeing more states taking it up upon themselves. Because right now, the eyes of everybody is on the House of Assemblies in the state level. We are hoping to see that when we are having a speaker, he'll be able to put it as part of his agenda. When you bring it before the House, that the local government autonomy needs to stand. Elections to be conducted in the local government. I mean, I do not know what tends to be the problem. Are we talking about insecurity? Insecurity, despite that, we still had elections in the state level. So what is the problem that we're not even having election? That is even another problem on its own, because if we had chairmen, of course, they'll be able to fight for their people.
They will be able to.
So we're just hoping, Richard, this is actually a big game on its own, and we're hoping that whoever is ready to run on this game should be able to do the right thing to fix Nigeria well. Now, still talking about our government and what they are expected to do. Recently, the Senate have actually talked about to summon some of the service chiefs, or all of the service chiefs, rather, because the issue of the increase of insecurity is getting out of hand. We've seen that in Zamfara recently, another 5 in Katsina. We're having emo unrest. We're having quite a number of attacks here and there. Just recently, a pharmacist was being kidnapped in Plateau State. That has been, you know, finally they got to bring him back. We're talking about core members in Zamfara. So it seems as if we're having unrest left, right, and center. And the Senate are really calling on all of the security chiefs to tell us what is the problem and how can all of these things be rectified. Because, I mean, it seems as if the bandits or the hoodlums or whatever name we choose to call them are getting an upper hand. And just like you always say, you refuse to believe that the government do not know what they are supposed to do. I believe the fact that they should have an upper hand, the government should have an upper hand. Our security operatives supposed to have all the intelligence that is needed. But each time we see an attack going on, you begin to wonder, is it that our security do not plan as much as these bandits plan? Is it that we do not have the gadget that is needed? What is the problem, and why are we having these people taking over? We're talking about over 200 million, and how many are these bandits? Why do they seem to overpower the security operatives? This is the question that we truly need to answer. And I just hope that the security operative, after they are summoned with the Senate, they'll be able to give us a proper answer to what really is the problem right now.
You know, Sele, it's organized crime, and then secondly, they have been funding themselves with ransom. We've seen that over and over because recently church members that were kidnapped in Ondo have been released also after a 50 million naira ransom have been paid. So that's 50 million naira more to the bank accounts of these kidnappers. And for every other person that gained freedom, I know over the years it's been like the government have tried to silence the whole ransom thing. They don't want it out there because when you keep giving ransom, it's like you're enriching these people. Your negotiation is like giving them some kind of privilege that they do not they don't deserve it exactly. However, ransom have been a word has been used to get people for freedom, for to gain freedom, and then we have our security agencies having issues of funding. You want to go and press charges in a police station, you want to call police to come and do this, you press a call, I'm being robbed in my area, this is happening, and you can hear complaints like we do not have fuel in our car, or if we come you have to fuel it. And these people, these terrorists, these bandits, these herdsmen, these unknown gunmen are having all the funds they need to carry these things out. So whether we like it or not, this is one solid factor that it might look like that that our military are beneath these people, but of course it's not in intelligence, it's not in tactics, it's not in strategy, it's not. But I believe that one of the things that is putting them ahead of our security is just the funding, is the money that they have above. And it is, you will see policemen moving with guns that barely have enough bullets and all of that. And these are people, we've seen how many times they've been able to burst one or two contrabands with many rounds of bullets and magazines and all of that. And you see all of these things moving around, and it's not owned by the government, this is owned by criminals. So whether we like it or not, this is one factor that is affecting and making it look like these people are ahead of our security personnel, and something needs to be done about it quickly. And I'll not stop overemphasizing on what are the schools doing, what is the state government doing, what is the local government doing, because whether we like it or not, these students on or off campus, they are your responsibility as long as they are living within the limit of school, within the area of school, and is as a result of no enough accommodation in the school campus, and they have to live off campus, then they are your responsibility. So it means there's not just supposed to be security in the entrance or the or the entrance of your school, the exit of your school, but also in all of these communities that you know you have your students residing within those periods, within that limit, because if not for school, they wouldn't be living there in the first place. So what are you doing? Are you just increasing fees to run other things and forgetting security?
Very
so
important.
This is a joint effort. That's it. I keep saying it is joint effort. As the government of Nigeria are trying their best, summoning security chiefs and all of that, what are you doing as a vice chancellor in your school concerning security? Before the government get to you, do something for your own students to make sure that everybody is secure.
Honestly, thank you so much, Rachel,
You're
for
welcome,
your
Sarah.
in-depth analysis.
Thank you,
And
Sarah.
thank you to our viewers for keeping a date with us on the program Nigerian Now. Until we come here again, do have a blessed weekend.